Hey, what's up guys? John here. What is the difference between a debt consolidation loan, a debt consolidation, and a balance transfer? I own GreatCreditFast.com, and we receive dozens of phone calls and dozens of appointments every single week with the same types of questions that I'm going to cover in this video. People that are in a financial bind. They are behind on bills, they're in a difficult situation, they don't know what to do, and there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of things that you have to be really, really careful of and cautious of if you are in a situation where, you're in credit card debt and you're looking for ways, or any type of debt, you're looking for ways in which you can kind of pivot and move to kind of get out from underneath of this. So I'm going to tell you what some of these scams are. I'm going to tell you there's some really good options out there for people, and kind of tell you what you should possibly consider if you are in a situation that, you need to get out from underneath of. So the first, let's say, for example, you have $25,000 in credit card debt, right? $25,000 in credit card debt. The average interest rate on a credit card right now is 28.01% interest, which is absolutely insane. 28.0% interest. This came out 6 days ago, Forbes magazine. So you would pay $512, right? Over 13 years. So, and you pay $600 a month. Absolutely crazy, right? $600 a month for 13 years. So that's not an ideal situation. So many people that are sitting in that type of debt, they're pulling out these calculators and they're looking at how much money they're actually spending in interest. And so they're thinking, hey, I'll do a debt consolidation. The mainstream version of a debt consolidation is you hire a company and they say, look, you got $25,000 in credit card debt, stop paying all your bills. Instead, once you stop paying your bills, we will then reach out to your creditors and we'll tell them, look, you can't afford $25K, you could afford $10K, you could afford, a smaller amount, which sounds great at first, right? They'll say you can afford a smaller amount and don't pay your creditor directly, pay us. Well, a lot of the money that you're paying them goes to them, not to your creditor. And so what ultimately happens is they weasel their way in to a situation in which they are assuming most of your expenses every single month. So if you're making $300 a month in payments, they're taking a good chunk of that. And so this is not an ideal scenario for one of two reasons. One, obviously, you're not paying your creditors. Two, your credit gets absolutely destroyed in the process. When they tell you to stop paying these credit card debt obligations or any type of debt obligation, one late payment can drop your score upwards of 180 points. And so if you have multiple of these late payments and charge-offs, it'll destroy your credit. And in many cases, it will stay like that for 7 years. 7 years. So you get into a situation now and you're looking at it, you're like 2020, almost 2024 now, you wouldn't get out of it until 2031, right? You'll essentially miss what I think is going to be a huge investing opportunity doing a traditional debt consolidation. However, there are other programs out there, such as a debt consolidation loan, which I think are much, much better. They're harder to come across, but if you can find the right one, it could be a really good option. So how this works is, let's say, for example, you have $25,000 in credit card debt, and instead of paying 28.01% interest, what you do is you reach out to, it's a private company, maybe you have a family member or a friend, or maybe you have someone that, is close to you that would, maybe a hard money lender that you have a relationship with that traditionally would lend on real estate. Maybe they'll send you a personal loan, possibly. Again, these are a little bit harder to get, but you can still get them. So let's say, for example, they'll lend it to you for 15% rather than 28%. Well, you go from paying $68,000 in interest and you pay $10,000. So you basically save 58 grand in interest, right? And you pay it off in 5 years versus paying it off in 13, right? So you save yourself 8 years of payments. This is a much better option for most people looking into these plans and these options. So why people should be doing this right now is student loans. Student loans are going to be due October 1st. And so here's kind of what I think could very likely happen. So you have these student loans being due October 1st, average payment $504 a month. And you have 43.5 million Americans that are going to start paying these bills. So I believe after 2 months or 3 months, that information is going to become public data, that credit card companies are seeing more defaults because people are going to start making questions. They're going to start asking themselves questions. Who should I pay? The landlord? Should I pay my credit card bills? Should I pay student loans? What should I do? What should I pay? Right? Not everyone's going to say, let's just pay credit cards. Right? So there's going to be a lot more defaults on auto loans, on everything. And so as this begins to likely happen, you're going to start seeing credit card companies and other, these other consolidation loan companies start to pull back and take some risk off the table, right? So I think this is the best time to really start to weigh your options, because I think you can still get funding and you can still, get access to money today. I think it's going to be harder in 6 months. I think it's going to just get harder and harder and harder. So when you look at these scenarios, a traditional debt consolidation loan is a much better play for most people. The way that I would look at this is you want to protect your credit at all times. You really want to protect your credit. And with a debt consolidation loan, this allows you to go out there and pay off your credit card balances in full. So your utilization might go from 100% to 0%. And just be extremely responsible on this. So if you have a $600 payment and you're paying that debt consolidation loan company, $600 a month, what I would likely do is probably reduce my expenses dramatically during that period, and I would try to pay it off faster. I would try to pay off as quickly as possible, possibly move back in with the parents if that was an option, bring in a roommate. I would do whatever I could possibly do to increase these payments from $600 to, let's just call it $1,000. And then it would take my payment period from 5 years to basically 2.5 years, right? And I'd only pay $5,000 in interest. So I'd take my situation from $68,000 in interest, paying the minimum payments on credit cards, to $5,000, right? So it's basically saving $63,000. And it would put me in a really, really good position to where I could invest in real estate as the market starts to go through a big change, which I personally think is very likely going to happen. If you look at what's going on right now with the mortgage rates, with affordability, everything is increasing except for wages. I mean, you're talking sky-high property taxes, insurance rates, utility bills are going up, maintenance on properties going up, wages are softening. Everything is pushing and pointing to a direction in which we're going to likely see a compression of property values. So having really good credit and putting yourself in a position to where if you were a bank, you'd want to lend you money is an ideal scenario. So this is I believe the second best option. The best option, if you have credit card debt specifically, is probably doing a balance transfer. So how this would work is you would, let's say you'd have to have good credit, in most cases between 700 and 749. And then what would ultimately happen is you would apply for one of these credit cards and you would get approved. And then once you're approved, then you would transfer the balance from your current credit card company to this card. And there's 0% annual fee, and it's 18 to 24%, 18.24% to 28.24%. This is after the balance, the 0% APR expires. So many of these will have a 0% APR for 12 months or 24 months, to where you can basically just go all in on these cards on paying them off every single month. When I say all in, I mean paying as much as you possibly can every single month, reducing your expenses dramatically, paying as much as you possibly can to get out of debt during this 0% APR transition period. Now, what they're banking on is that you'll be irresponsible, that you're going to spend way too much on that card, and then at the end, you're going to be stuck with some huge balance, and you're going to be in this debt loop in which they're essentially going to control, right? They're going to, hopefully, in their version, is get you a 28% interest, and then keep you in the loop, paying them tens of thousands of dollars in interest payments as you make the minimum payments to try to struggle to pay off your balance. But you want to do the complete opposite of that. You want to take them for a ride by taking the 0% APR for 12 to 24 months, paying, like if you were paying, let's say, it's not going to show me 0%, but it might show me 0.01%. It would take you essentially 2 years to get out of debt. 2 years to get out of debt if you can pay $1,000 a month at $25,000 balance. So what these credit card companies got to do is they're going to greatly look at your credit score, and that credit score is going to gauge the amount of risk that they take with doing business with you. So if you have late payments, charge-offs, medical bills, collections, foreclosures, you have any type of derogatory, any negative item on your credit report, in most cases you will likely get denied, or if you are approved, it will be for a very, very small balance, maybe $500 or $1,000, which for most people that's not going to do much, right? You want to get approved for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 balance at a minimum for most people. And so you want to make sure that your credit is where it should be. So one thing to take into consideration is if your score is not in this range, you do not want to apply for these cards. The reason for it is because what can happen is you'll get denied, and as you get denied, it will impact your credit score, maybe 5 points, 10 points max, right? It's not dramatic, but what I see a lot of people do is they'll apply for one, they'll get denied, and they'll apply for another. Then they're basically flagged for being desperate for credit, and then their score drops 5 to 10 points on each one. And before you know it, they're down 40 points, right? They're down 30 points on their score. You don't want to do that. So when you apply for one of these cards, you want to look at not only the distance that you have to for that 0% APR, but you want to look at also the benefits of each card. You want to make sure that it's going to be in line with what you're looking for, and do your real homework, do your due diligence. What I would be looking at if I had personal debt or consumer debt right now is I would really look at how much money I'm making every single month, what my debt obligations are, how I can reduce my overall expenses, and what I can possibly do to pay down as much as possible right now. Because as we're looking at this complete shift in the economy, what we're likely going to start to see here is a lot of people that are not going to be able to, to get through this storm. And so you want to be with that person that gets through the storm, and not just gets through it, but learns a lot from it and puts yourself in a position to where you're never in that bad situation ever again. So one really good way could be, buying a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, living in one unit, renting out the other units, bringing in some additional income, starting an online business, doing all of these things. But understanding money, understanding what is the best first step for you, I believe is going to be the first, the make or break for a lot of people. So in order of the most preferable options, 0% APR balance transfer, no doubt about it, because you're going to essentially get free money to pay off your debt. The second would be a debt consolidation loan, where someone will lend you the money and you pay off the balances in full, meaning your creditors do not lose a single penny. They don't lose a single penny. That is the second best option. And the third and the worst option, in my opinion, is a debt consolidation, where you hire a company and they tell you, just stop paying all your bills. Stop paying all your bills. We'll go in there, we'll renegotiate it. We'll take a percentage of that amount that we renegotiate, plus we'll take a monthly fee. Before you know it, a good chunk of all that money you're paying is to that debt consolidation company. Your credit gets trashed. You can't invest in real estate. You can't get access to money. People view you as high risk, and then it basically turns your life upside down. So be really strategic and smart about what is best for you. If you need help fixing your credit, you want to position yourself for a home equity line of credit, a home loan, a credit card, a balance transfer card. You want to put yourself in a really strong position, but you have some issues on your credit that are, that's holding you back. We'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. Feel free to give us a call, 561-430-5900, or schedule a call down below. We'll give you some advice and see if there's something that we can do to assist you with your credit situation. I'll catch you guys in the next video.